Nice.
Well, we've got daily Q&A with producer Evan now. So our producer, Evan, has rounded up some of your questions, and we're here to answer them.
All right, let's do it.
And Trey, it is so fitting to have you here today because everyone has been asking what has been in the sky. We've gotten Facebook message, we've gotten emails. Everyone, Trey, what was in the sky this morning?
Okay, so what was in the sky this morning? So you may have overlooked it as cloud cover initially, as I knew what was going on over there on the West Coast, but even I thought, that must be a smudge on the lens or a reflection. But no, folks, the answer to that question is a SpaceX rocket that was carrying 25, or is, I should say, carrying 25 satellites up into a low Earth orbit to help. It's going to facilitate an upgrade to the Starlink internet, which is already, I hear, pretty fast, and so it's going to make it even better.
My goodness.
But get this. So initially, I had thought that may have taken off from the Space Coast here in Florida, but then I thought about it again and thought, wait a minute. That particular rocket is built and manufactured out west, takes off out west. And so that took off out of Vandenberg Space Force Base over in, I think it's Santa Barbara County, California.
Wow.
And smoke was still visible here in Panhandle.
Oh my goodness, because we were saying that. We saw one of the, I believe it was our tower camera that's overlooking Panama City Beach, where we said, Trey, is that fog? Should we mention the fog? And you said, no, it's smoke.
Yeah, it's the smoke mixing in there in like the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So we always talk very briefly when we're talking about showers and thunderstorms about them building up into what we call the vertical. Vertical is just a fancy way of saying the different layers of the atmosphere. And so that smoke kind of started to mix in there, started to condense and cool with some of the water droplets up there, and it kind of made it almost a fog-like appearance.
Wow.
Cool.
Okay. I don't know if you can answer this, but is it gonna kind of smell smoky out, or are we just seeing like the remnants of it?
Probably not, because of how far away the rocket was when it initially took off, but we saw it pretty clearly in the sky, and it's wild because folks, of course, saw it clear as day over on the West Coast when it took off, and then here all along the Panhandle and down to the south and east where the original Space Coast is, they saw it as well, down in even areas like Miami, which is absolutely bizarre. It just gives you kind of an idea of how small we really are.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We're getting kind of philosophical this morning.
Yeah. I was just looking at I was just amazed because folks in that launched from California at 5 a.m. and by 5:30 a.m. we were seeing the smoke in our sky.
Oh my goodness. And viewers have been sending in so many different photos and videos, and we love to see it.
Oh,
it's so exciting to see it in all different places.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead and patch it over to our next question.
This one's for you, Mia. I've got a question for you. What were your takeaways from Shannon Bream's speech? I know she's got a connection to you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so she did speak. We just ran that story a moment ago where Alyssa Dutton was out at Watercolor Lake House. I was also there, and she really just talked about her story in going to FSU and their law school and then becoming an anchor and how she got into the news business. And it was so amazing to hear. I think there are so many different things that we could have definitely related to, little jokes and cracks that she was talking about, about being in the industry, especially things that have to do with timing and making sure we're getting in like that breaking news. And it was really cool to hear someone who now is doing national news talk about the early start of it.
Yeah, because there's nothing like local journalism when you're starting out. It's a unique setup. It's a beautiful thing as well. But sometimes I've heard several other journalists that I even know Shannon, some others that have worked with her, have talked about how they miss sometimes that kind of local feel. You know, they get the cues in your ear from your directors across the booth and things like that. So, what'd you take away? What was your number one takeaway from her speech?
Oh goodness, she really honed in on that there are going to be a lot of no's and maybe setbacks, but leaning on God through that and really having a lot of, I'm losing the word for it.
Ambition?
It was going to be not conviction. There's another word. Discernment. Having a lot of discernment in your choices.
That was way off.
No, you were there. You were helpful. No, but I think having that discernment, leaning on God, and like kind of just taking the opportunities for what they are, but also not making it your entire world. I thought it was a really great speech. I loved hearing that, and it was amazing that FSU Panama City was putting this on, and it was a great crowd.
And before we wrap this little segment up,
Yeah.
I wanted to say, yeah, both of those things you just mentioned as your takeaways from her speech are very true, because you have to take the opportunities while they're there with a grain of salt and know that it's all part of the bigger picture, getting to where you've dreamed of. But at the same time, we're all living the dream. We're on TV doing the news like we've dreamed of.
Yeah.
And the setbacks teach you something in the long run. So you got to be ambitious, got to go after them.
Oh, absolutely, Trey. You really got super philosophical on me this morning.
I'm speaking from experience. Moved all the way 30 hours away to Montana for my first job. I'd never been there, but I said, you know what? If they're crazy enough to hire me, a nervous kid out of college, then I'll do it. So.
Well, thanks so much, Trey, and thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with some alerts and events that you need to know about.